corruption not in my country.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We are only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came out with this one?
News tonight, provide clarification on leaked audio conversation with Oyedepo. Federal government challenges Peter Obi. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike mocks Ayu over 2023 elections outcome. And reps invite Finance Minister, Secretary General of the Federation, NNPCL, over $2.4 billion stolen crude probe. Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has asked Peter Obi, presidential candidate of the Labour Party, to clarify his position on a leaked audio conversation featuring him and David Oyedepo, the founder of Winners Chapel. In the audio clip, a voice similar to that of Obi can be heard asking Oyedepo to speak to the Christians in the southwest and Kwara to vote for him in the presidential poll, describing the election as a religious war. Obi, however, said the audio is a fake, doctored audio call, and at no time did he ever say, think, or even imply that the 2023 election is or was a religious war. The Labour Party candidate campaign council also called the audio a deepfake and accused the All Progressives Congress, APC, of trying to demarket Peter Obi. Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has mocked a former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Iyorchia Ayu, over the party's failure in the 2023 presidential election. In a media chat with selected journalists in Port Harcourt on Tuesday, Wike claimed that Benue-born PDP chieftain has no electoral value. While the PDP has appointed an acting national chairman, Wike says the development means little. He, however, expressed happiness that Ayu did not quit as the PDP chairman before the election. In the lead up to the election, Wike had championed the call for Ayu's resignation.
What about Ayu stepping aside or not stepping aside? What is going to make me because they had a presidential candidate. I say you can't have these two. And people should understand. And our constitution says there must be zoning. That is not that we are comfortable with that. Because we still talked about the presidency should go to the start. Having stayed there for 8 years. But at least you have something to speak about. You know. So, whether Ayu goes, in fact, we're happy that Ayu didn't go that time. But if he had gone, then they would have said it was because Ayu left. That's how we lost election. So thank God he presided over the election. Not that we lost. He lost woefully from his unit to his ward, to his local government, to his state. He didn't have anything. So you can see that he has nothing to contribute to the party. We won here, which means we have something to offer the party. I didn't have anything to offer the party.
With the increasing spate of banditry attacks, the problem of insecurity is taking the front burner in Nigeria's political discourse. To this end, security experts have urged the new administration to, as a matter of urgency, deal decisively with bandits and other criminal elements. While commending the APC's document of renewed hope, security expert Kabiru Adamu, in an earlier interview with TV360 Nigeria, said the incoming administration spelled out new ideas for Nigeria's security architecture, but was silent on its implementation strategy. Speaking further, Adamu added that there is a need to address the issues of some aggrieved segments of the country who felt left out in the political affairs of the state.
So we're hoping that as part of the transition process going on at the moment, and of course behind the scenes, there is a lot of conversations now going on regarding how to implement all of these promises that were made. One area that the document was silent about is the correlation between climate change and insecurity. So I'm hoping that as part of the conversations too, that this area will be looked at closely, because there is a very close relationship between the climate change and the absence of implementing adaptation measures within the climate change spectrum, especially at the federal level and at the state level, and how this is driving insecurity across the country. The other ones are the soft components of insecurity. And I know the document spoke around poverty, unemployment, and the several other components. One thing that the document was silent about, again, is this grievance mechanisms that have failed, as it were, in Nigeria. There is a lot of grievance. The politics itself created new grievances. Certain components of the society feel left out. So there must be some mention and a strategy on how to bridge those gaps and develop national unity and cohesion. All of this, I'm hoping that as part of the transition work that is ongoing and the behind-the-scenes discussion by the incoming administration, they will be able to look at this, come up with an implementation strategy, and of course, hope that implementation strategy will address all of these things that I've mentioned. But suffice to say, the renewed hope document was quite comprehensive in terms of several components of the security approach that this new incoming administration intends to pursue.
The House of Representatives ad hoc committee on oil theft has invited several high-ranking officials in the federal government over its investigation into the alleged loss of over $2.4 billion in revenue from illegal sale of 48 million barrels of crude oil export in 2015. Some of the officials invited on Tuesday are the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, and the Secretary General of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. Also summoned are the Acting Accountant General of the Federation, Silva Okoli Abo, and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, among others. The committee is also concerned about the disparity in figures from crude oil sales from 2011 to 2014 and is accusing the Minister of Finance of approving payments to whistleblowers in variance with the whistleblower policy. Meanwhile, a group, the Judge Ubo Whistleblowers Network, has stormed the National Assembly to demand transparency from the House of Representatives panel set up to look into the 48 million barrels of oil that were illegally sold in China. The group, led by Peter Umo, which described itself as a civil society organization with a mandate to fight corruption, carried banners and placards with inscriptions denouncing the setting up of the ad hoc committee by the lower chamber, when the crime, according to them, is already being litigated against in the court of law. The House of Representatives had in December 2022 resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate a whistleblower's claims that 48 million barrels of Bonny Light crude were illegally sold in China in 2015, as well as the insurance status of the cargo.
We are suffering injustice among the mandate in the public interest and in the interest of the override any other interest in any democratic dispensation. The scheduled Honorable Mark Billa led ad hoc committee hearing on illegal sale of stolen 48 million barrels of Nigeria crude oil in China.
No be lie, no be lie.
In violation of two principles. Number one, the whistleblower which finished Honorable Mark Billa the information the 48 million barrel crude oil stolen did not file any petition on the National Assembly giving rise to the hearing. Neither were there any call at witness to testify during the hearing. Our chairman, Judge Obua, known as the whistleblower, whose petition of the National Assembly led at the sack of the former EFCC chairman, can authoritatively state his file and lay on the floor because Bila boycott the screenshot due to the process. Bila reported adult committee hearing is a scam and unreiterated action participated by the grid.
A coalition of interest groups under the aegis of the Free Nigeria movement has said the Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka has betrayed the trust of Nigerians that Nigerians reposed in him. The movement is reacting to the remarks by Soyinka that the 2023 Labour Party vice presidential candidate Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed is exhibiting a do-or-die attitude by saying that Bola Tinubu, the president-elect, should not be sworn in. Speaking at a protest conference in Abuja, the convener of the Free Nigeria movement, Moses Paul, accused Soyinka of pursuing a selective witch hunt instead of focusing on the real issues surrounding the 2023 elections. He further called for a boycott of Soyinka's literary works, articles, events and public engagements that celebrate his achievements.
It is on record that Professor Wole Soyinka never condemned the shameless episode of ethnic profiling, intimidation and hate speech by elements such as Musilimu Akinsonya aka MC Oluomo, Bayo Ononuga, FF Kayode and a host of other atrocious persons. All their actions are not fascist, nor did he condemn Professor Mahmoud Yakubu's instance of flaunting INEC's guidelines, the Electoral Act, and his rush to declare a winner. It is sad that when it mattered the most, the voice of our dear Prof, whose books and thoughts form the basis of academic pursuit by some, should breathe reason on the polity, he chose to stand with the oppressor in the burning house. We therefore call for the boycott of his books, yes! Articles and events, yes! And all public engagements, yes! That celebrate his literary achievements, which as of today do not recognize the well-being of the ordinary Nigerian. Yes. Yeah. We need role models, not sellouts. Yes!
In Lagos, the State Commissioner of Police, Idowu Owohunwa, has presented checks of over 28 million naira to the next of kin of 78 deceased police officers who died while in active service to the state. The presentation of the check took place on Tuesday at the police command in the state, while a total of 36 officers were promoted and decorated. The Lagos CP said the reward system aims to reward befitting officers. More details in this report. Here at the Police Command Zone 2 headquarters in Lagos, a total of 36 senior police officers have been promoted and decorated. The State Commissioner of Police, Idowu Owohunwa, says this gesture will serve as a morale booster for 7 members of the force.
Lagos State is one of the leading beneficiaries with a total of 36 officers. Senior officers that will be promoted to the next round. And this comprises of 15 chief superintendents of police that will today be decorated with their new ranks of assistant commissioners of police. I'm also very much elated because we're also making presentations of a total of 28,585,092 naira 87 kobo to families of a total of 78 police officers that have either paid the supreme price in the service of these states or of these states, or are bearing various degrees of injuries.
Beaming with smiles, the newly promoted and decorated officers say they will double their effort and will perform excellently in their new office.
We want to assure the Inspector General of Police that we are being motivated on this track today is a motivation to continue to work harder, and that we promise him we shall do.
We want to reassure the general public because higher rank demands higher work responsibility that we are going to redouble our effort to make sure that citizens within the country are able to close their two eyes and sleep safely.
After the decoration ceremony, the Commissioner of Police issued checks to families of deceased police officers. While charging the beneficiaries to utilize the money judiciously, the CP explains that death benefit will go a long way in alleviating the suffering of families of the deceased police officers. Beneficiaries expressed gratitude to the Commission for paying in full monies accrued to them.
Right now we have some projects we are doing, like the place I'm living. So I have to put some things in order, so it will go a long way, and my children that are still in school, it will assist them too.
The check will be given to my mom. She is the best to know what we are going to do for her, actually. Because mostly my siblings are still in school and they are very, very young. And I believe they're going to pay for their school fees and some other things in their house. I'm going to say a big thank you, actually, because it has been a long time already, and giving us now at least, God has even answered our prayers. It has been a long time though. We have been praying to receive this check for a while now, and since 2020, I'm happy now. At least we are free.
The presentation of the checks is part of the Commission's ongoing welfare scheme for the families of deceased officers. Folashade Ogurinde, TV360 News. We'll take a break here, but still to come. Finance firm predicts unemployment rate hike for Nigeria in 2023. Details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has asked Peter Obi, presidential candidate of the Labour Party, to clarify his position on a leaked audio conversation featuring him and David Oyedepo, the founder of Winners Chapel. In the audio clip, a voice similar to that of Obi can be heard asking Oyedepo to speak to the Christians in the Southwest and inquire to vote for him in the presidential poll, describing the election as a religious war. We also told you that Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has mocked a former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Ilcha Ayo, over the party's failure in the 2023 presidential election. In a media chat with selected journalists in Port Harcourt on Tuesday, Wike claimed the Benue-born PDP chieftain has no electoral value. But in case you missed any of our news bulletin, or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. The Biden administration is launching a $5 billion plus program to accelerate the development of new coronavirus vaccines and treatments. The program, dubbed Project Next Gen, is expected to be launched in the near future as a sequel to the Trump administration's Operation Warp Speed. The goal, according to the White House, is to develop a pan-coronavirus vaccine and treatment that will be able to withstand future threats from the family of viruses that includes COVID, SARS, and MERS. We'll take a breather now and be back with more stories and business. To stay with us. Welcome back to News Now. In business, KPMG, a multidimensional consulting firm, has disclosed that Nigeria's unemployment rate would increase to 40.6% in 2023 from 37.7% in 2022. A recent report titled KPMG Global Economy Outlook Report first half of the year 2023 said the figure of job seekers would rise in 2023 due to the decreased economic growth and the inability of the country's economy to absorb the 4 to 5 million yearly graduates into the Nigerian job market. It also explained that the unemployment and inflation rates would shoot up rapidly in the year 2024. Well, for more analysis of this report, Adewale Oyenride, the Director General, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, joins me now. Thank you very much for your time. Now, I want to know what your thoughts are on the data released by KPMG indicating that Nigeria's unemployment rate would rise as high as 40.6% in 2023.
Yeah, good evening and thank you for having us. Well, the report by KPMG is not far from the truth. Some might even say it's a conservative analysis of the anticipated unemployment rate. Now, when you talk about unemployment or employment, they are not fictitious conversations. They should be based or situated rightly within the context of a parameter or parameters, as you want to call them. If the unemployment rate is reducing, then there are definitely some parameters that are influencing it. If the unemployment rate is growing bigger and higher, there are also some parameters that are influencing it. And within our context, we realize that all the indices that we have currently will not, or probably will not, support any analysis that says the unemployment rate is coming down. For unemployment, for an economy to grow, in basic economics, production and consumption must be going on uninterrupted. Even where there are shocks, the monetary and fiscal policy of the government will create an environment where those shocks can be mitigated. Or in some instances, as we find in some other climes, countries of nations, of developed nations, of not so developed nations, also create palliatives, create grants, or deliberately create structures, institutional structures that will help the economy to keep grinding, even in spite of the shocks that it might be facing. In our case, that has not been the issue. From the last report of 33 point something percent of unemployment rate, and the projected 41 point something that KPMG reported recently, what we look at is, what are the parameters? Up to now, we've had shocks, interrupted consumption, interrupted production. The real sector is not producing to capacity utilization. The business environment has not been friendly enough to ensure that production or business sustainability is guaranteed. And if sustainability is not guaranteed, then you can't even talk of competitiveness, because you have to be sustainable first before you talk of competitiveness. Limited investment by the private sector, even the foreign direct investments that should boost business growth and boost economic activities, they are not coming the way they used to, because the environment is not friendly enough for businesses to grow. And why government
brought to you there, KPMG has said that the country's inability to absorb its over 5 million graduates yearly is the major reason for this data. But briefly tell us, what are the ripple effects of this report, if indeed it's valid? What are the ripple effects, and how serious is this really, if you have over 5 million graduates who could be jobless by the time they're through with school? So what are the ripple effects, on a larger scale?
Now, two things quickly. First, the 4.5 million that was quoted. Your rate of job creation or business sustainability rate must be higher than your rate of the rate at which you are turning out graduates for your figures to start coming down. So since you cannot stop the academic calendar from running, so graduates will continue to come out every year, then your task is to make sure that your rate of development, your rate of job creation is equal to or greater than the rate at which your graduates are coming out. That is one of the ways in which you can deal with the issue of unemployment. Now, you mentioned the issue of the risk involved, massive risk involved. You have the most productive, the most engaging of your population out of job. You run the risk of insecurity as we have it currently. You also run the risk of compromising the growth of your businesses that are struggling, because those that are not working, their disposable income is also tending to zero. And if those ones cannot patronize businesses, they cannot patronize the manufacturing businesses, they cannot patronize the service industry. If they can't patronize those industries that thrives on consumption, you're also creating problems for those industries, because if they don't sell, they can't grow. And if they can't grow, they can't expand. If they're not expanding, it affects the capacity. If they're not expanding, it affects their ability to even pay salaries. If they're not paying salaries, it affects the ability of their staff to pay house rent. If they're not paying house rent, it affects the capacity of the landlord to send his children to school. If he's not sending his children to school, it affects the ability of the school proprietor to pay salaries.
Well, indeed, it's certainly
like
going to cross the effects of this is certainly going to go across all segments and sectors of the economy. But I'm sorry to cut you short there, Mr. Adewale Oyorinde, the Director General, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA. Thank you very much for your time and your contribution. Well, let's go for a short break now. Up next is a review of the stock market. Just stay with us. It's a second executive trading day of the week as all share index paired 1.96% to close at 51,952 basis points, with market capitalization closing at 28.31 trillion naira. In the aggregate, 107 NGX listed equities participated in trading, ending with 4 gainers and 28 losers. Now, speaking of losers, Lafarge Wapco came out last with a loss of 23 naira per share, followed by Airtel Africa. On the winning table, Keverton Offshore Support Group led the gainers with 8.25% share price appreciation, closing at 1 naira 5 kobo per share, which was followed by Nigerian Aviation Handling Co. Now, market summary shows that 1.7 million volume of shares valued at 4.7 billion naira exchange hands in 4,286 deals. Now, to select global stocks, it's certainly a good trading day for all three, FTSE, Dow Jones and Nikkei, ending in the greens at 0.57%, 0.40% and 1.05% respectively. And now to the foreign scene. Sudanese civilian groups and the ruling junta have missed Tuesday's deadline to form a civilian-led transitional government amid disagreements on security reforms and other issues. According to a timeline set up by the parties, a new prime minister would have been announced on Tuesday, as well as other officials of a civilian-led government. The deadline lapsed after the parties failed to sign a final transition deal on the 1st and 6th of April over disagreement on the integration of the paramilitary rapid support forces into the army. Well, Super Falcons of Nigeria on Tuesday hammered 2023 World Cup co-host New Zealand 3-0 in the second friendly game in Turkey. It's the Falcons' second win in Turkey after edging World Cup debutant Haiti 2-1 last Friday. Randy Waldrum's side has now won their last 3 games. Goals from skipper Onome Ebi, Jennifer Echigini and Desire Oparanoze secured the comfortable win for the 9-time African champions. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Fola Shade Ogurinde. Bye for now.